Bulbasaur to Charizard, strong and stunning and bright. Every battle's a star show, every match a pure delight. Electric sparks and fiery blaze, trainers shouting a cheer. This is where dreams are made, winning's our quest. Oh dear, Vicky's Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. The Thickies Pokemon League, we're the best and the bold. Only beauty can compete, only legends are told. Flashing lights and roaring crowd, in the ring they take their stance. Only pros and beauty queens, here they all get their chance. Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. From Bulbasaur to Charizard, strong and stunning and bright. Every battle's a star show, every match a pure delight. Electric sparks and fiery blaze, trainers shouting a cheer. This is where dreams are made, winning's our quest. Oh dear, Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. The Thickies Pokemon League, we're the best and the bold. Only beauty can compete, only legends are told. Flashing lights and roaring crowd, in the ring they take their stance. Only pros and beauty queens, here they all get their chance. Thickies Pokemon League, the best and beautiful league. In the spotlight they gleam, living the Pokemon dream. From Bulbasaur to Charizard, strong and stunning and bright. Every battle's a star show, every match
fresh run coming out tonight.
Yeah, we're live. Cut it out, jackass. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TPL Podcast. Week 8 has concluded. We have the playoffs ahead of us now. A lot of rematches from Week 8. This week again, round 1 of the playoffs. Joining me, Jack Machiavelli. How you doing tonight?
We're here. We're alive. We're present. Excited, elated, all the above. We're back. It did take a week off. Glad to see people filing in here. We know it's summer break for a lot of you thickies, but that doesn't mean stay up late. You just want to assert yourself and get ready for the playoffs here.
Got to be well rested. And we're excited to announce a partnership with Mattress Firm going forward. To help everyone in the league stay well rested. I think that's the biggest difference at the top level is the work that goes on behind the scenes.
Yep, that's right. Mattress Firm is the new official sponsor of the TPL. Better mattresses, better people, Mattress Firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a while since our last podcast, so there's quite a lot to cover, I believe.
Right.
Are there any roster shakeups we need to be aware of? There was a bit of a controversy with the spreadsheet. Some blame the curator, many blaming you. Not sure what happened there, but it may have cost Dev a game.
Right. I mean, listen, all signs do point to, Machiavelli when everything goes wrong. Whether that is something that people just want to rag on. I was sick on the deathbed for about 2 days. Acid reflux getting the best of us. We're back. Still got a little throat action going on, but I wasn't really around. I did come alive later on, but the curator's supposed to look that over. We're not going to point the blame. We're going to look at the positives. We're going to move on. Frisian has been, moving on with Shaman, and RJ did pick up Goodra and Incineroar. Not a lot of shakeups though, as far as roster is concerned, but I mean, look at the bracket here. It's going to be a tough one to come out of both conferences.
Yeah, we didn't really cover the trade deadline much this season, unfortunately, due to scheduling constraints. I think the blockbuster was probably Ting Lu and Slowking Galar trading hands between myself and the great MRF. Beyond that, we saw some, minor Terra Captain adjustments, and Skyman, as you touched on, the other big signing there. Looking at this playoff picture and just how competitive and tight this season was with a couple of outliers, what really stands out to you here looking at this bracket?
Um, I mean, I like to look at who's hot and who's not. Lily started off 1-3, ended up 5-3 in the upper half of the bracket. Slugged it out with Maki in a 3-game series that went 50 plus each way. Each trainer kind of showed a little bit of what they're going to be doing. I think that's something to look for this round. Maki did say that she was holding on to some tech. We'll see if that tech will pay off. But I think if you look at the Western Conference, I mean, staying safe and Dev really, really slugged it out, you know. That's something to look for, too. And Kel's had a great season, very quiet season. It's a shame she has to go up against you. I mean, that's just a tough matchup that you can ask for. I don't think really Kel's somebody that you can really, you know, cross off in your mind here, though. I mean, that's a very, very tough roster. Blaziken's playing good ball. Something to look out for, of course, you know, with Tinglu coming over to Butler. Chiva underperformed in my mind. Not a knock on Chiva. We're just used to Chiva really rolling through people. Chiva really wasn't there this season, right? Never really got going roaring moon like we expected. Spectre underperformed as well. Just a couple of things highlighting on that side. MRF, I do like his chances. He did take down Chiva before, so that's something to watch out for there. Willis mailing it in, much like Tommy Tutu. Not much in between the eyes this season. DP will shellac him, with all due respect.
All right, yeah, way to touch on everybody there. I do feel comfortable sharing something now about the first series of mine and Kel. Game 2, you know, the fully boosted Blazikins in front of my Whimsicott, who was bluffing Prankster, was actually Infiltrator. So the game was obviously a lot closer than it looked, and you know, we don't take Kel lightly. That's one we're going to prepare heavily for. You know, as for who's hot and who's not, I believe I am 1-3 in my last 4, however, so definitely on the not list here. Yeah, Lily Maki, another Week 8 rematch, along with Limit and Frisian. Those are kind of... I don't really like going into these, because you've already shown a little of what you want to show in Week 8. And also, you know, in the future, you know, when the playoffs are seeded this way and, you know, you've got a guaranteed spot, may lead to people, you know, attempting to throw Week 8 potentially to avoid that rematch and save the tech, or some otherwise uncompetitive series. So, yeah, not a fan. Possibly some of the blame should be attributed to the curator. Does have the ability to flex the matches. They're all randomly generated at the beginning of the season, but we can slot in a week wherever we'd like. Producer telling me there will be fines for the curator.
Yeah, and it's something that I do want to touch on as far as the rematches go. I mean, Lily really showed some dominance in both of the wins that Lily was able to snag there. Ogrepon and Dragonite, of course, stealing the highlights. Will Maki adjust? Will Maki show a little bit more resilience in the rematch? That's something to look out for. Did look a little bit vanilla, if you will, on the terms of Maki's build, so that's something that we do know that Maki has shown in the past that she can throw some tech out there. That's something to look out for. Will Lily stay with that Ogrepon Sword Stance, Encore shenanigans, Dragonite? That's something to watch out for. But, man, a highlight. Swaggy lost to RJ, so I definitely have to be on my toes. RJ was not an easy out the first time he played. Rain is never easy, especially with the 2 ferocious guppies. He sports the Bass and the Barra. That's something I'm going to have to be on my A-game for on Sunday night, Thinky.
Yeah, who do you think is the favorite out of each conference?
Well, I'm not going to pick myself. You know, just haven't really been dialed in last couple playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone else would pick you either, to be quite honest.
I think there's a couple people in Soho that'll pick me. I don't think Swaggy's coming out. I tell you what, I don't see it. Listen, Gouge of Fire, Chiampao, great. I think Lily's my dark horse to come out of the conference this season. I mean, Lily's really been knocking on the door the last couple seasons. Had a down year, then an up year, and vice versa. It's Lily's time to come out of the conference, I think. I got Lily full confidence coming out. It's not a team that you look at and you say, wow, this is a very fast team, but it's a team that you just can't overwhelm, and it's very, very annoying to play against. Pex, Dragonite, Ogrepon, as I said, Ogrepon, Katera, Encore, get that speed boost. It's just annoying. Sylveon is an underrated piece, 1 mod of the week, and top to bottom, it's just a bulky roster. And the other side, I like staying safe. I like DP. Can't count out the Butler. But I'm going to go with DP to come out again. I think DP's roster is not the best, but he's playing real good ball. Zapdos, Iron Moth, just really swaggy guys, if you will. No pun intended.
Yeah, I think as far as dark horse contenders go, I've got Out East and Driftville. I've got Limit potentially with a very clear path to the conference finals. Frisian, I think, is capable of taking the series, but I think Limit, having played him before in the playoffs too, can be a different beast. And I think, looking at the way his team matches up with everyone else on his side of the bracket there, I think we could be looking at like a Limit swaggy conference finals. At which point I'm not sure who I'd take. Meanwhile, in Castelia over here out west, I obviously like myself. DP, definitely a contender. So is Chiva. I mean, there's, Dev, former champion too. And staying safe, an outstanding rookie debut season.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no one you would count out besides Willis, who unfortunately is tanking. Yeah.
Yeah, he's tanking, but maybe it could be a ploy, right? It could be one of those bluffs. He throws a smoke screen, kind of like Rock Lee.
If his opponent were Dev, perhaps that would be the case.
Right, he does not like Dev.
Yeah, they don't. Those two don't like each other. I've seen some screenshots behind the scenes, all kinds of expletives and awful name calling going on.
Yep, a lot of slurs. A lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but definitely some words that myself and the producer would not repeat. Bracket is wrong. Swaggy Lucio game should be switched with Veli RJ game. That's according to Frizcore associate Frizion himself. Is the bracket wrong, Machiavelli?
Traditionally I thought it was the way on the screen. I don't know. There's a discrepancy between, I think the producer and the curator have to kiss and make up behind the scenes.
What's this guy talking about? I think it matches up fine. Yeah, I think chat's trying to test our sobriety here. And I got to say, I'm not a fan of that type of testing.
No. Speaking of testing, Tommy Tutu is shellacking my DMs right now. Not really sure where the hostility's coming from.
Yeah, not sure. Not sure what is going on here at all. I'm gonna try to steer this back.
He didn't show up to 3 out of the 7 or 8 weeks, and he lost the coin toss by the curator's hands. So
yeah, a double-sided coin, to be exact.
I did see the coin as well. It was double-sided.
This guy Tommy Tutu has, once again made a mockery of the league I love and the game I love. And he's got to be better. The league paid to have him in a program. He attended 3 out of 18 meetings. On our dime, and he can't get it together.
2-6, Tommy Tutu. You just got to be better.
You got to be better. And part of it is just showing up. The best ability is availability. And we could be looking at Achilles possibly taking that spot next season.
Right.
Anybody who will just get it done.
To watch.
Yeah.
Like a lot of rookies on the roster signing up as well. If you look at the signups, league's growing, league's expanding. We're looking to get new blood in there. Tommy Tutu just doesn't dial it. Lily Rose says no Tommy. Yeah. Scheduling has been hectic with him. Let's get into some of these predictions, Mikey. We'll start.
Hold on a second. Yeah, Frizion's right. The limit Frizion should be swapped with Lily Maki.
Right, yeah.
Just do that shit in your head if you're watching at home. Refer to the curator's bracket as the final authority, as always. Yes, that does mess up my calculations about Limit's matchup. He doesn't have quite as clear a path to the finals as possible.
No. I mean, even if he won, he'd have to possibly face Mirror RJ next round. That's a tough matchup anyway. Nightmare on Soho Street for the Limit camp. Or the Frizz camp. Frizz did beat him 2-0. Was he safe intact? We'll see. That's something to look out for. Frizz is not wrong. DP's yelling. Let's get that guy under control.
Yeah, DP was going to be a guest on the pod sometime in the near future. One matchup I think maybe we haven't touched on enough is Chiva versus MRF 780.
Right. I think MRF took Chiba down 2-1 when they last met. But that's when Tinglu was on MRF's team. Tinglu obviously a great answer for Spectrier. Does pretty decently, I think, versus Run Rune if it's unboosted, so that's something to watch out for. The Glow King is going to be able to maybe verse the Spectrier 1v1, somewhat, kind of.
I mean,
not really, I don't know.
What really sucks here is that you really kind of want Tinglu into Chiva's roster, right?
Right.
Tinglu looks pretty good on paper into Chiva, as far as,
really good.
Switching into Roaring Moon, Spectrier, Jugulus, physically bulky enough to come in on, Arcanine too. Yeah, but I mean, Galarian Slowking obviously able to help into many different matchups, but that that team of Chiva's probably not one of them. So
no.
That's going to be a difference. When did they play? Was that before that trade?
I believe it was week 6.
Week 6?
It was right at the deadline.
Would have still had Tinglu on the roster then, yeah?
Yeah, he does have Woe. The big Woe will be a difference maker, I think, in the absence. So that's something to definitely look out for. Revenge game for Dragapult, of course. Dragapult did play a pretty decent role in that series. Clefable as well. I still think that's going to be a tough one for Chiva to thug it out, just because of the Clef and the Dragapult. I like MRF in that one 2-1. Of course, I'm going 2-0 DP over Willis. I think it'll be quick and easy with the DP camp.
Yeah, Wo Chien is a Terra Captain. Has some very useful, I think, defensive applications. I'm into a lot of the conference, actually.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments here. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I can solo this podcast, buddy. Don't you worry.
No, you can. Anything to add on the Western Conference over there?
Yeah, I think I got Chiva coming out ahead versus MRF in the first round. Could go either way though. Close series, but I think Chiva's the favorite from what I'm looking at, and just what I've seen of the two. But MRF did have a fantastic rookie campaign of his own, all things considered. Yeah. Got stuck in a very difficult, tough conference for his debut, and handled it quite well. Performed better than most predicted.
Yeah, I mean, Arcanine stayed home last time Chiva played. Arcanine is a pretty good, actually relatively really good matchup here. That's something I would bring Arcanine if I was Chiva this time around. Did not see it last time, and MRF even commented about it. So, will Chiva do it? But, if you look at Clef, Dragapult, really just good answers to Chiva's main guys.
That's tough. I mean, the only thing you want to switch into a Flare Blitz does not want to eat a Head Smash, right?
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't want to coach anybody necessarily.
No.
But just looking at this matchup, I think Arcanine looks like a really good bring, and sometimes you want to bring what they don't expect too. So a lot of mind games at play here.
Yeah, and then moving on to, I know you're not going to talk a lot about it, but Mikey versus Kel here. Guess I could kind of look at it a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, we know Kel's going to set the screens up, most likely. I think Milotic's going to be key here with the preservation. Hayes, big versus Kingdra, of course. This one's going to be tough, I think, for both sides. I mean, even for you, Mikey. I mean, just to break through. I mean, Bundle's going to propose a lot of annoying scenarios for you, even with Tinglu, with the Terra. I mean, Bundle's just going to try to chip over time.
Well, the real issue with Bundle is that it has a chance every turn it clicks and stab to, freeze you and neutralize any answer, right?
Right.
That's the toughest part. Kel's pretty unfortunate that I do have a lot of sort of built-in screens counterplay into my team, right? Like multiple Brick Breakers, Raging Bull. I've got an Infiltrator Mon, Wicked Blow critting, and then I've got, of course, Sniper Kingdra. Just a lot of different ways around.
Cinderace.
Yeah.
Cinderace, too, can jack the screens. Pause.
Yeah. Can even jack the screens, a little court change action. Not the matchup you want to see with an Aurora Veil team.
No.
But I'm really interested to see what she's going to bring this time. I was glad to get Kingdra some play, the late pickup there. Looked pretty good. Kingdra's a pretty versatile Pokemon. I think it's a little bit slept on. Really excited to use
I
it
love
here
it.
in the playoffs.
I remember Trilly used it like 2 seasons ago, 2 or 3 seasons ago, right?
Yeah.
And went nuts a couple times. I think they cranked out like 2 or 3 wins in a row with it. DD Poison Terra, but
That's tough. And, that Terra, Kingdra getting an extra turn is just so dangerous when you account for, focus, energy, and sniper.
yep.
Just turns it into an absolute killing machine.
Yeah, I'll probably lean Butler on that one. Don't want to touch it too much. But staying safe in Dev, we did see staying safe take it 2-0. Of course, there was some controversy. The doc is now updated. He didn't prep for the Ice Terra Alecki. It's now there. He's got time to prep for it. Excuses are thrown out the window. Unsung hero, I think, was that Persian. We did see the Persian play a decent role with the foul play and the parting shot. And much like I think that guy Jizzle a couple seasons ago, where he used Primeape in a very good role, a very, very underutilized mod. Persian's really shining the brightest lights so far this season. It's a very tough out. If you look at Dev's team at Ogerpon, Wellspring, of course, very, very strong. Lando, Garg. Even though Garg without the Terra now, it's a little bit easier to counter. Goldango and Amorous, who we do covet as well. It's going to be tough for Dev. It's also going to be tough for staying safe. I'm gonna go safe. I think again. I think he's got some more tricks up the bag. I think he can play the long game with Screamtail and Pass Wishes. Alecki's a threat of always. I don't know. I think he's got too much tech. I'll take him 2-1. It's gonna be a long, drawn out series though.
Yeah, I think I really like Dev's matchup here. I take Dev 2-0 actually. A little bit top heavy roster here. The Ogerpon Wellspring looks really good here. You almost don't want a Terra. You want to save that neutrality to Regialecki's attacks.
Right.
So that's something to keep in mind on the side of staying safe. So it'll probably be some mind games in that series, trying to force that Terra. That was one weakness of Dev's roster is, Ogerpon, a great Terra captain on its own, in a vacuum, getting that extra boost on the cudgel. Not very versatile captain, though, and your backup is Tauros, so I think does have some applications as a Terra captain, but not really what you're looking for when you're not getting that much out of Ogerpon Wellspring's Terra capabilities, especially in this matchup. But, having Landoris T into a King Gambit Excadrill team forces the Alecki Terra. So that's already a pretty good start. And I just think Dev, he's championship caliber player, a little more pedigree. I think he's going to show the fans what he's made of and walk away with a victory, round 1.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with staying safe.
We'll have to come back and revisit this and
yeah.
see how we do. Producers bracketology.
Yep. Now to the Eastern Conference. Swaggy Luxio 1 versus 8. All signs do point to Swaggy taking this one, but Luxio has shown some resilience, right? That's something to watch out for. It did change up the team a little bit. Jirachi is a sneaky good pickup here. Something he needed to watch for, of course. Culber Berry into the Champ Pal, maybe, surprise it. Swaggy has been leaning on that Keldeo for some chip damage into Champ Pal and Gougefire late game. I just think that Pal is just... Pal is so good here, even though with the Venusaur, and you could see Manual Rain set here from Swaggy. With the Thundoris. Even Quillfish is somebody that could be annoying.
You can set Rain. You do run the risk of Walking Wake kind of mowing you over from that point on, too, with the Water Stab. That's a good thing about Wake's versatility in the side, is it has Rain counterplay sort of built in. Garchomp looks really good here. A Swords Dance could end the game, especially if he's still able to Terra. Really not seeing how Swaggy would come back from that.
He'd have to have Ice Beam on Pagos, right? To even...
Yeah, well, I'm assuming the Garchomp's going to Terra, at which point it's not a one-hit KO, really, regardless. Of
Yeah, if
what
he goes
Pagos
fairy,
clicks. Yeah, and
yeah, if
fire,
he
I mean,
goes
gives you the
fairy,
resistance
yeah.
to ice shard, but fairy gives you the resistance to vacuum wave.
Oh man, yeah, I think it's as close as a 180 you can get,
Yeah,
right? I mean, I'm gonna lean Swaggy, but I think I think it goes to three. Even though Swaggy's 6-2, just hasn't been as dominant as we've seen in the past, right? So that's definitely something to look for. I mean, Limit took him down. We just saw RJ beat him in three. Uh, it's, I mean, Swaggy should be the favorite here, but like you said, Chomp looks good. I do like Venusaur too, right in the sun. That's something to look for too as
I like
well.
Venusaur a lot in draft as a sun sweeper because you really can afford to run sleep powder a lot of the time. When you're able to really tailor your coverage to this extent. I think it makes it that more threatening. You want to switch Sinistcha into a sleep powder. You're getting a weather ball. Good night,
Yeah,
Terrifier.
right.
Sludge bomb does decent damage on its own as well.
Weather
Yeah,
ball, O-code, pow, good night.
yeah,
Um,
something to watch for there. The thing is, outside of Garchomp and Venusaur and Wake, I think the rest of the team just doesn't feel all that threatening into what Swaggy has going on. I'll be looking for Gouging Fire to take advantage of the sun if he does bring it. I think Swaggy
sure.
wins 2-1 here. Luxio's really been on the cusp all season though.
Yeah, he showed competence, right? I mean, yes, he's the AT, but I think competence is there. I think Mimikyu is one to watch for here though as a gouging fire answer with the T wave and being able to eat a hit. Yeah, so
Could be, yeah, and I think Azumarill, former champion favorite mon of mine, does have a great matchup here.
sure.
It's going to resist the stab of Pal, Gouging Fire, Keldeo, the biggest threats on Swaggy's team. You can keep it alive, bolster it with the wish support from Jirachi. There's a lot of different ways he can approach this matchup. But Torkoal, Venusaur, Wake, Chomp might be the cleanest way to get it done. We'll have to see if he takes the weather approach or maybe the more sustained approach with like an Azumarill or something. Maybe we'll even see Webbs, Spidops. Has he got play this season? I haven't kept up.
Yes, he did. You bring it versus Soho and he got schlagged by a Hatterene expanding force.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, rough matchup for the Spidops. Could see it here.
Yep.
But I've got Swaggy 2-1. What was your call?
Swaggy 2-1.
Swaggy 2-1. Let's take a look now at Frisian Limit, who should be in the place of Lily Mott.
Yeah, that's the one. So we do actually have that replay coming up. Not to spoil anything. Frisian took him down 2-0. I mean, Skyman looks great here. It's just a matter of how Limit plays 8, right? I think ultimately, Dozo's going to be annoying for Limit. Rillaboom's going to have to play a very, very key role here. Skeledirge is a good, Rillaboom answer. Man, this is tough. I mean, if you look at the roster, Frisian has a lot of answers for what Limit wants to do, right? Greninja's going to have to be sneaky here. Bolt, has that priority. Comfy can come in and Draining Kiss, man. I mean, Frisian, in my opinion, has the matchup on paper. I think Limit's the better trainer. So I gotta lean Limit in a rematch. I do. I think it goes to 3 though. I think Limit 2-1.
That's such a strong top 3 from Frisian, and then combined with Dozo's ability to really limit some setup opportunities. The thing is, though, Limit's team Annihilate with the Rage Fist boosting has a way around Don Dozo. Greninja looks kind of difficult.
Yeah, really difficult.
Could fish for a Battle Bomb boost here.
Even Registeel's eating that though.
Yeah, I mean, the tough part for Shaman is there is a Blissey on the other side. Could see some Leech Seed action. Shaman does have the ability to sort of flinch down and end the game or stop and Annihilate sweep at any point as well. And just, the middle half of Frisian's roster, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. Glamora can probably get toxic spikes up pretty easily.
Mhm.
Even, considering Espeon, if it gets in on Dozo or Great Tusk one time, that might necessitate some overquill usage. Who's not bad. Intimidate not bad in this matchup at all,
No,
especially into the Rillaboom.
I feel like Lima's really just got to grind to get into his offense though versus this team, right?
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, Raging Bolt can pivot out of Blissey quite a bit, but unless you're able to knock those boots off and then punish with your own rocks, it's not really going to amount to a whole lot. And that also is going to limit Shaman Sky. You're more of an expert on what goes on during the regular season. Was Blissey get a lot of
No,
playing time for the limit
no,
camp?
he didn't. No, I mean, most of the lineups was Ape, Greninja, Glamora, Earthworm, Amoonguss, Boulder, and Boom. Blissey was left on the bench a lot.
I see. Yeah, could see it here. It does match up well into quite a few things on that roster. Yeah, I got limit. I think 2-1 here. Frisian more than capable of taking this series, though.
Sure. Yeah, I think his best method would be passing a sub to Ape and stacking the Rage Fist damage.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
We'll see if he adopts it. Let's move on to Maki Lily now.
Yeah. So this is going to be another long series. I mean, every game, like I said, was over 50 turns pretty much. A lot of pivoting between Sylveon versus Vaporeon, Heatran versus Vaporeon, Mola versus Magearna and Cresselia. We did see sub Slitherwing with Fairy bulk up, put in some work.
It's one of the bulkiest
Galvantula.
teams in the entire league
Sure,
on Lily's side here. Holy cow.
sure. And then even in Galvantula was a key member. Kind of deterred Ogerpon from really clicking Cudgel and keeping going because Ogerpon was a very good win con here, still is. Tough matchup for Weavile. Especially with Pax, Mola, Iron Hands, even Sylveon at the bulkiest can maybe sneak one out.
Yeah, but I think the value
be-
Weavile brings here is really knocking off the
Right, the knockoffs.
heavy-duty boots of those Regenerator Mons and that real stalwart defensive core.
Right.
And then, next to that, you've got the best hazard setter probably in the game, right? So that's what Lily's really going to have to prepare for.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm gonna go Maki in the rematch though. It went to 3, I think goes to 3 again, but if Galvantula gets webs up and Maki prevents, I mean there was a point in game 3 where Maki was gonna win. I think Maki just threw. I think even Maki said in the chat I threw. The key is Magearna in advantageous situations and preserving Gliscor, right? You don't want Ogerpon to go nuts. That's just something that you just have to prevent. I mean, once it gets going, clicks Encore, then it gets a Swords Dance. Once you're locked in an Encore, and pretty much anything on Maki's team is not taking that Cudgel at like +3.
Yeah,
so
I'm not. The good thing is,
Not much.
if you are running the webs and you have Weavile, you're essentially proofed against the Ogerpon there.
Sure.
And if you don't run webs, you really shouldn't. You shouldn't have too many opportunities for it to Swords Dance. At which point Hydra Apple's a pretty solid switch in. I mean, Cresselia is also so immensely bulky that you can slot it into a lot of matchups like this, as kind of a fallback against just, random setup, heavy hitters
was a
like
screener.
Ogerpon.
Crest was a screener in this scenario. May look to switch that up. Don't necessarily know if you need screens versus Lily's team. Possibly running like a Calm Mind, but then you run into the Ogerpon with the Encore, of course. So it's going to be tough, I think, for Maki to drag it out. I think Lily's going to preserve, Ogerpon, going to preserve Dragonite. It's going to be tough.
You've got double regen and a Wish Pass on Lily's side. I mean, you've got a regen Hydrapple along with Gliscor and Vaporeon on Maki's side. I think what we're in for is a pretty long series.
Yeah, it's going to go 3. It's going to be like a 60 turn each way. But I think Maki rights the ship, and I think knows what she did wrong here.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't watched enough of these two this season to really say. From what I'm seeing with the rosters, though, I do think Maki is the better matchup. And with your inclination toward Maki, I think I'm going to agree. I think Maki takes this one 2-1. Important to note, though, that Lily has played very well as of late.
Yep.
All right. And finally, Machiavelli and the rookie RJ. RJ fresh off a victory against Swaggy Boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. You throw out the last series we played. When I beat him 2-0, he does have different mons this time around. Goodra and Incineroar instead of Toadscruel and Tpl. Yeah, it'll be tough. I mean, Rain is always tough to go against, especially when you got two. Like I said, Barraskewda, Fluttermane, or Keldon. It's a tough team. He did bring the Weezing with the Misty Surge. To stop the Psychic Terrain. So I'm just going to have to outpace him somehow.
Yeah, I think he's got the potential to cut Soho's championship aspirations short. Can he utilize the roster effectively enough? I think he's got about as good as matchup into the size spam Psychic Terrain as one can really hope for.
Yep.
Does have the rain available. The Swift Swim, or multiple Swift Swimmers able to give a lot of counterplay to that Poltegeist that a lot of teams just don't have. Incineroar, I think, has some applications here as well. Not sure necessarily that the counter terrain is needed. I mean, really, your team, especially with Ogerpon Hearthflame as a captain, not always going to need the side terrain to break a team down, right?
No, and it's also a tough Ogerpon matchup, right, with the rain. Gets shellacked by Barraskewda and the Bass. So, yeah, we'll just have to get in the lab and, the calculations, look back at the tapes from last time we played, and try to be the best we can.
Yeah, I got RJ 2-0.
Of course you do.
Are we ready for some replay review? And first up, we're going to have RJ versus Swaggy. RJ did employ the rain versus Swaggy.
Yeah, Quillfish, somebody you like seeing off the bench here for the Swaggy camp. Did not get a chance to see this game. It was 4 a.m. And then I worked, so I didn't see it. He does run the special gouging here, though.
Yeah, pretty nice Quillfish game, right? Having that piece on the bench and getting a matchup like this where you can actually run Swift Swim if you wanted to is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think our Keldon here is just somebody that, 30% good chip there. Free switching to a Draco, too. Any idea? I still don't get what the special gouging was for here.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what was going on with the sequence we just witnessed.
No, I don't either. And
maybe overvaluing Quillfish there.
Right. And look at the chip damage from the Fluttermanes. That looks like Specs. He's going to go to Poison here. Keldeo, right? Yep.
Yeah, definitely Specs. I mean, on Fluttermane, I think maybe 90% of the time you're just better off running Specs.
Right. What the Pelly? Boosted Rain.
Yeah, Keldeo, a very formidable Terra Captain. Great mon. I like to use it in OU a lot.
Big crit there from the RJ man. But here's the thing, Goodra, this is something I was looking at on paper for the matchups. Goodra is a scary mod, even though it just got shellacked right there, but a very underrated Assault Vest user.
Oh yeah, Goodra can eat, boosted Poltegeist, boosted expanded forces all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, something to look out for there. I'm interested to see how he plays around this end game here. Also, might I note, no Chiampao from the Swaggy camp. Possibly getting rested for a week 8.
And some Aya Papa Berry.
Yeah. And then the Draco, whoa. So now the problem
it's
is,
a
right?
specs gouging fire, and you've got the nice matchup with the dragon stab there. Probably not the worst thing in the world, and you're going to be able to do a lot more damage to that Petra runt too.
The problem is that he gets his specs knocked off right there, right? So
Yeah, but I mean, even the
that's
theory was fine, I think, as far as the special gouging goes. It's
well,
a
the problem
matchup
is
where you're not
now,
going to be able to use really your fire stab, right?
right?
And
Well,
you don't want
that's
to
the
run
problem
into that
now.
Arcaludon. And that's actually a way, Arcaludon's going to want to switch in on gouging fire, and you're actually able to just blow it up with a specs pulse. That's, a really good approach, in my opinion.
Whoa, he's got the bulk up Thunderous though, and he gets bang. You hate to see that, Mark. If he especially wins, right?
Yeah.
And then here's the late game. Here's the problem. Oh, 1%. And then he's going to hit you with a mirror coat. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Now, here's the problem. Your specs is knocked off. That P.E.K.K.A. is going to recover. Yep, watch this. There it is. A little puppeteer shenanigans. It's good night, sweet prince.
Yeah, and really what killed you was that sequence where Specs Flutterman just picked your team apart, right?
Right. Yeah, you would have had Pagos alive. Pagos got eaten for breakfast. Would have loved to have Pagos late game. Especially with the Archelodon, right? I mean, that's... Yeah, he's just going to eat him here. No problem. 4 a.m. Swaggy. Eastern time. Down.
Yeah, I like the Choice Specs gouging fire bring there. Didn't quite get what he wanted out of it, but not a bad idea.
Yeah, and here's a matchup that we're going to be looking at round one.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing this one. Once again.
Blissey does not come this week. Will he change that? Ugh.
Yeah, that Grassy Glide not going to do enough, unfortunately.
You see, the thing is, for Limit's side, right, he's got to take out Dozo for Boulder to be effective. He's got to take out Tusk for Boulder to be effective. So, the Grassy Glide into the Bolt, it's a free switch in for Bolt.
I mean, Boulder really needs Quillfish, or Overquill weakened quite a bit as well, right?
Right. Yeah, and, that's just a free Volt switch there. Does bring out the Grass Terra.
It's just a tough Boulder matchup, too, because you've got priority there with Raging Bolt as well as the Comfy.
Yeah, I mean, even look like you send it out right here. I mean, it's boom. I mean, I don't know why he stayed in there.
Yeah, I think we needed to see a Draining Kiss there.
Right. Succubus is a great song by Ken Carson. I don't think that's the name, unless Frisian listens to Ken. I don't think Frisian listens to Ken Carson, but and that's a big pump miss. Not sure if it mattered. We'll have to calc that. I'll have the producer calc it. Right here, you want to see a wood hammer if you got it.
Yeah, I got one for you.
Nah, I think it's more of a wood pencil. Yeah, I don't know if he was thinking switching out there, high horsepower. Probably thinking for Bolt coming in, right? Yeah.
Yeah, at what point do you just switch the Dondozo into the Iron Boulder?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, Boulder is just coming in, click and cleave. You have the Dozo in the back.
And then you do get what you're looking for with the Gambit on Dozo. And, at that point, you've held Dozo for so long, rather than switching it into the Boulder, you've effectively got no value from it.
Right, and I think late game Greninja here. Yeah, he already acted Battle Bond, so he's not going to get it again.
Not going to get it again. Frisian does find the win.
Yeah, if he didn't activate it before, he could have got it, right? Probably would have won, unless it was scarfed. Skyman, but
as a big Greninja fan, you can use the Battle Bond too early. It's something you've definitely got to contend with throughout the game.
Right.
Yeah, well, I think that about wraps it up for us tonight, folks. We've got a brand new draft board and a brand new season right around the corner. We'll be sharing more as we get closer. It's been a pretty great season overall. Anything else, Machiavelli?
No, I will add though, Krispy Kreme is giving away free donuts on July 4th. If you live near a Krispy Kreme, go and claim yours.
I'll do that, and thank you to our new sponsor, Mattress Firm.
Yep, Mattress Firm. Better people, better mattresses. Mattress Firm. Use code THICKY at checkout to get yourself a satin pillowcase. Once again, code THICKY at checkout.